Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Phil MacDougall. I'm your host of What Drives Reno, and today is a very special day because look around me. Look at this crowd. Look at, very grateful to have everybody in the room with me today. I'm going to start off by everyone knows Mayor Hillary Schieve to my right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Mike Larragueta, President and CEO
Hello.
of the Visit Reno. I got to say the whole title. It's a very long title.
Visit Reno Tahoe.
Yes, and Taylor Adams, President and CEO, Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada, called EDON.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show today. Today we're going to talk about 2026, Reno-Sparks, Northern Nevada, everything we want to think about, and we might make some phone calls.
Yeah,
We're just gonna
I was
call?
thinking we should pick someone random out of my phone and be like, hey, you're live.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to call a friend. If you don't know the
Yeah.
answer, we're going to call a friend.
I like
You're going
it.
to do a call a friend.
Let's stump 'em.
Let's see what this,
Yeah.
and tell them it's live. No, thank you guys very much for coming on. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. Maybe none of the questions on the script, but the premise of it is to talk about Reno, what the future is, what our growth plans are, and the people in this room each represent something very specific that is essential to our growth. So I'm going to kick off the first question to our dear mayor over here and say, Mayor Schieve.
No, call me Hillary.
Hillary,
Please,
when you
please.
step back and you look at what we've done in the last, say, 5-10 years, whatever milestone you want, what's something that really jumps out at you as a significant change?
Wow, there has been a lot of change over the last decade. But the one I always go back to, because I think people forget about it the most, I will never forget. When I first was running for office, I was knocking on a lot of doors and asking people, what do you want to see in our city? And the number one issue at that time, and people forget, but it really was sort of the impetus of where, downtown started rolling. And downtown is obviously, we're still going through sort of a renaissance downtown, but it was the King's Inn. And if anyone has been born and raised here, they'll know how blighted that property was. Do you remember, Mike?
I do, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It was the biggest eyesore downtown. So I think people really forget. And if you look at the numbers of revitalization downtown, it's pretty remarkable. But it is spread out, so I don't think people see it in its entirety. But, the numbers are phenomenal. We have not seen housing numbers like this downtown in over, I think it's about 3 decades. And so that's huge. And also, Taylor's right here. We can talk a lot about it. But businesses that have opened up downtown, the revitalization efforts along the river, there's really, really a lot happening.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, except for it just never happens fast enough. But I'm going to go with, honestly,
Your first answer? Is that your final
Inn.
answer?
Final answer.
Yeah, maybe we should call a friend.
We should call a friend, yeah?
Yeah, but I'm going to go with that from when I think back about one of the most blighted properties in our city.
Taylor, Mike,
Yeah.
you guys jump in. What jumps out to you?
I think so first, I think, and I appreciate how modest the mayor's being. I mean, the big thing is, I think, 12 years of hard work is what's sort of driven the community forward. And yeah, there's no doubt that when you look at downtown, the investments that we're seeing now, starting with the King's Inn, but you look at everything that the Jacobs Group has done downtown. The mayor rightly talked about I think it's almost 1,500 housing units that are going to come downtown in the next 5 years. You look at the work that's been done, that she's led as it relates to revitalization and then safety of the river. I mean, those are the things that are really pushing the community forward and giving us a base we can build on.
Mike, what about you? What jumps out?
Boy, that's following the mayor and Taylor is difficult sometimes, but I'm going to kind of piggyback on and echo some of their comments. I've had the privilege of spending most of my professional career in Northern Nevada, but I did have a time period where I left, and that was around 2001. And I was very fortunate to return to Northern Nevada in 2015. And I remember when I walked back into Northern Nevada in 2015, I said, what happened to my little town? What happened to the biggest little city? I mean, to see the development and the expansion and the growth from an economic standpoint, from the airport to tourism in general, and the amount of capital that has been put into our community, both in housing, commercial, residential, and then, of course, all of the stakeholders and this massive growth of select services, limited properties. I mean, we have over 16,000 keys in Northern Nevada now, which is rooms. And so to see that growth and where we're at in 2026 is really exciting for us on the tourism side.
Let's stay on tourism for a second. What are some of the most significant things or trends you're seeing from the tourism industry?
So from a trend standpoint, people are really focused on identifying locations that are providing an experience. They want an outdoor option. The cookie cutter, going to a hotel, meeting in a ballroom, having a catered dinner are a thing of the past. People that are booking large conventions and meetings now are really looking for something extremely unique. And what's really fortunate about Northern Nevada is we have all that right in our backyard, right? We have the outdoor options, we have the unique venues, we have some really cool excursions that we offer. And so we are kind of on the cutting edge of what people are looking for in 2026.
You know, Phil, one thing Mike doesn't take, or he either doesn't take enough credit for it or his organization doesn't get recognized for it. It's important to know the mayor's the chair of his board right now, I think.
So, he's got to say nice things about me
right.
while we're sitting here.
But you know, as someone who doesn't work in the hospitality space, but whose organization reaps the benefit of all the work that Mike's group does, it's important to know. You read a lot in the paper now. You see a lot on the news about how hospitality is performing across the state, particularly in the southern half of the state, but also across the West and throughout the nation. And you know, I don't think Mike's group gets enough credit, and the mayor through her leadership, for the fact that we're actually doing really well. That Mike's actually achieving his goals, and
Must be good leadership.
Yeah. But that's but you know,
It's getting deep here.
Yeah,
It's getting a little deep.
but you know, I think it's a really important thing to note that that where there's so much conversation around the state right now about how tourism and hospitality are doing, RSCVA is really an emergent leader in the state as it relates to market performance, and Mike's group should get a ton of credit for the work that they're doing in that space.
Thank you, Taylor.
Well, I'll piggyback on that one as well, because 5 years ago, I looked at the numbers. The museum here, we weren't really doing a lot with you guys. You guys have taken us from here to this level. We had 65,000 visitors. People, oh, that's a good number. No. In 4.5 years, we went from 65,000 this year, 117,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we project 125,000 by the end of this year right now. That's a huge jump. And I know that your team is bringing in groups here all the time, and we're closing them, but that's a big part of it. It's not just attracting people, but it's supporting the local businesses. So I really mean that sincerely. It's been a big difference for us.
And Phil, I think you know, I think you have to give yourself a lot of credit for that. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell a great story I'll never forget. Sean Tracy, who was one of the first regional directors that I added to the team when I returned to Reno and worked in Visit Reno Tahoe. And he came to the Auto Museum and he met you. And he was so excited about that experience and about your passion and your energy and what you were doing in this facility. And he's a good one to impress because he talks a lot. And so he told everyone.
He's a good man. Yeah, he's a very good man. I remember that.
And fast forward to where we are today, I don't know if there's a site inspection that we hold when we're catering for a piece of business to bring their business, their convention, to Reno that we don't bring to the Auto Museum. So thank you.
We're very grateful. No, it's been a great partnership. I want to jump ahead and just say, okay, guys, from people who are each one of your different worlds, if for those people who are, we're talking about our current growth, but for people who are outside, what are some of the things that we're still dealing with? Why do they underestimate us? Or do they underestimate us as a region?
Oh, I think so. I love it though. We were talking about this morning, and we were talking about you, and I said you have been the game changer. We have been very fortunate too, though, to have massive synergy because I think we're all rooting for Reno.
Makes a big difference to have this teamwork.
If you're not
Reno.
Yeah, if you're not rooting for Reno, I don't want you on my team. We're super competitive. Look at the numbers. I mean, Mike knows. I'm like, we beat Las Vegas. And so those are things that we look at. But I need to let you know that you honestly have been such a bright, I think, shining star in the community, and all the community events that you host, all the things you do for children. You have really been a game changer. And you can spot right away a Reno champion. And so I just knew it right away. So I think we've had a lot of synergy, and all of us have some role to play in what we're trying to do and to make it successful. I do think people underestimate Reno, and I kind of love that about us. And so it's really fascinating. So here's a quick little story. So every year I think it's Christina that actually brings them in. She brings in influencers, you know, all these social media influencers. And every year they get, a piece of paper where they have to go to 4 cities. And they have like LA, New York, Austin, and then Reno. And I remember meeting these influencers. It was like last year, and they said, "Oh, we got our rundown of what cities we were going to," and they were like, "Oh, Reno." And so I thought they said, "I have to meet the mayor," which I thought I was like so honored. But they were like, "I have to meet the mayor. We've got to tell her about this experience." They were all super excited to go to all the other cities, and they thought, "Why is Reno on the list?" Well, they said once they came here and everyone just sort of showed them, I think, all the hidden gems of Reno. They said they were pleasantly surprised. Hands down, it ended up being #1 on their list. And so, these are sort of younger folks too, which typically, Reno's seen a little bit of an older demographic. But these were all young influencers, social media influencers, and they were just like, we were blown away. And so now they've all been kind of become ambassadors for our city. So I think people really don't know what to expect, but once you get here, it really is an experience.
Yeah.
I agree. What about you?
So I'll give you the perspective of somebody who's not from here, who hasn't been here
That's
that
true.
long.
You can't tell by the accent.
That's right. That's right.
It's a Reno accent.
That's right.
So you lived in
Exactly-
Seattle a long time, right?
It's exactly. I mean, the joke I used to make is I grew up in the northeastern part of Mississippi, and that's,
Yes.
But no, it's as someone who's been here for almost 3 years now, I can still remember when we got the call, and it was from the recruiter that was sort of headhunting this job, and they asked, "What do you think about Reno?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't.
Never been there."
and Todd was the guy's name. He said, "You need to come look at it. You're going to be amazed when you get." And he was absolutely right. And so I think about this a lot because obviously we're trying to recruit companies to come here and make sure the companies that are here stay here. And so, if you look at the East Coast, 70% of the U.S. population lives within 1-day drive of Washington, D.C. It's super dense. Everybody's right there. The West is so different. If you look at the population in the West, you've got 3 major metros in Los Angeles, the Phoenix metro, and then in Salt Lake City. I mean, so you've got the number 3, number 5, and I guess number 9 or so markets in the country, all right there connected, and they sort of feed off of each other. We're a lot more isolated here. So I think this is what I love about Mike's sort of no limits campaign. I think we have to consistently punch above our weight class because we don't have those population center anchors around us, and yet we still find a way to draw people here. And I think that goes into just sort of the natural quality of life that we have. So the quality of life here, the amazing natural beauty, but also the great things that our hospitality offerers do, and making sure that there are amazing things to do here that no other community our size in America can offer. And so the challenge for us is we're kind of remote. If we get you here, chances are you're going to come back over and over and over again. But you got to find us to have that first experience. That was certainly the case for my family. It's my wife and me and our 4 kids. And if you ask any of us, we'll tell you we're never leaving this place. But it took visiting it the first time to see how amazing it is. And so I think that just that's one of the cool things about being the biggest little, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, from tourism point of view, same experience?
So I'll piggyback a little bit on what Taylor said. I mean, we all live here, right? So we know what it's like to live in Northern Nevada and be residents of Reno and everything that it has to offer. And when we bring decision makers, meeting planners, influencers, marketing gurus, media, we still have those I had no clue, I had no idea moments all the time. And when we're cultivating and pursuing this business, we hit above 50%. If we get them here, we win more than we lose. But there's still a lot of work to be done, right? There is still so many people from the leisure, from the free independent traveler, from the gaming side, and of course from the business side that really don't know much about Reno. And we need to figure out how to get that message and tell the story in front of them. And it's a constant, I don't say it's a challenge, it's a battle, it's a challenge, right? Because you only have so many dollars to get your brand out there. But we have offices all over the country. We bring people in all the time, whether they're meeting planners or influencers or leisure personnel. And again, the aha, I had no clue, I had no idea moments are a pleasant reminder that we have a story to tell and we get a lot of people to get to.
It happens. I'm not exaggerating what you just said at the beginning. It happens to us all the time. Not only, and I do this, I give a tour. I gave a tour the other day. We had a delegation came up from Mexico for RSCBA. And we gave him a tour, and I put him in Grease Lightning and all these things.
Yeah.
And I said to him, okay, let's be honest. Just be honest with me. When you knew you were visiting the National Automobile Museum, how many were you excited to come? And they went, like that. I said, what about now? They said, it's not what I thought. I had no idea. We have people come in, will you bring your group in? And after we see them maybe the second or third day, it's the same experience. I had no idea. You're 25 minutes or whatever from the river. You're 20 minutes from tower skiing or swimming or the lakes. You have all the entertainment and tourism that Vegas has, but you have it here as well. It's got something for everybody. It's just getting them here and conveying that we have all this stuff.
Right.
So everyone, I think, can experience the same thing. And people listening to us go, oh, no, it's real. People say it to us all the time. So right now, for visitors or people who are locals to come here, what should visitors and locals be excited about, like right now, from your perspectives?
I think they should be excited about when they come here, they can play hard in the day and they can play hard at night. And that's one of the things that we hear all the time is that, they love our nightlife. And then in the day, our altitude actually is something that's really attractive. We have a lot of Olympians that live in this region. You just head right up to Lake Tahoe, incredible skiing, a country's largest alpine lake. We know this. But we also forget about, I think, all the positive press that we get. We really, really do. And none of that is manufactured. It's really remarkable, a city our size, getting that kind of recognition. I think people should be extremely excited about the future because we are seeing numbers that we have not seen before. And again, we know that tourism has been hard hit in Nevada, but Reno has really done a phenomenal job of separating ourselves because I think we continue to reinvent ourselves and we continue to push it. And I think Mike is right where we have to work really, really hard, but at the same time, we have assets that the South doesn't have. And so we play upon our strengths, how we're different, how we are unique. We don't typically see, I think, some of the issues you might see down in the South, particularly for affordability and things like that when you're looking for a destination, right? And so we really play upon our outdoors. We have something that, especially I think during the pandemic, people started to really rethink about where they were going to live, where they were going to work, and where they were going to visit. And that's where I think Reno has really stood out.
So, I mean, you don't get as big as I have gotten without liking to eat.
Well, that's true. I'm glad you mentioned the food.
Yeah, that's right. And so one of the
Wait, when you said that, we both went like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
We both inhaled a little bit.
oh no, so Mike and the mayor know this. I mean, my wife and I both love to cook. I mean,
You are foodies.
And by the way, Mike's wife is also an exceptional cook. But what I'll say about starting in our major hospitality properties, you've got great restaurant opportunities in every one of them. But coming back to the mayor's leadership, sort of anchored in Midtown and growing out. This community punches so far above its weight class as it relates to the quality of sort of the restaurateurs that we have here. We have amazing chef owners spread throughout the city, and what's great is it's not so many communities our size would have like a thing, like you can get a good steak there, which you can here, you can get anywhere. But what's incredible is sort of the breadth of offering that we have, and not just from different styles of food. Like you've got amazing sort of legacy providers like the Coney Island, which is which everybody loves all the way through.
Iconic.
That's right, iconic. Some of our newer offerings like Toro Bravo downtown is a ton of fun. The Belleville Wine Bar is exceptional. I mean, and those are non-Midtown properties, but I mean, if we started listing places in Midtown, we'd be here until your next show. And so it's just the quality of the restaurants that we have here, really just, I don't think they get nearly enough credit.
Yeah, I think that, going back to something that the mayor said earlier, where we have this list of cities that these influencers were visiting, and Reno's on the list. And if you go back 5 years ago, the question could be asked, why is Reno on that list? And why are they, and we're on that list because we deserve to be on that list now. The perception of this destination isn't changing, it's changed. And if you look at all the positive growth that we're experiencing, not just the capital and what's happening at GSR and Midtown and Jacobs Entertainment, that is great and really, really important. Obviously, gaming and tourism is the foundation of our economic growth in this community, but it's so much more that we offer, and it's growing in such a positive way throughout the entire region. And I just summarize it in the perception of this destination. It's not changing, it's changed in a very positive way.
All right, what was the term you used a minute ago about boxing? What was that term you just said? We're stepping up. We're in a different class.
Punching above our weight.
We punch above our weight
Yes.
class.
Just-
Why does it always have to come back to weight, Phil?
No. There's a whole campaign there. So I'm in IE or AI.
I love that.
Yeah,
AI.
I'm gonna
Yes.
get you
Yes.
some little boxer shorts, and we're gonna be there. Just
Great.
come to
Great.
Reno.
Yeah.
No, not working.
Let me tell you what nobody in America or the world wants to see.
I'm not going to say anything. But you know what? I also, no, I'm just kidding. I love to mess with the boys. But one of the things, too, I think we don't talk about enough is actually like Reno is sort of home to some of like First or National. And what I mean by that, and we were just talking about food, one of the things Reno is known for is all you can eat sushi. If you go to other cities, you're like, where's the all you can eat sushi? I did not realize that it's not a thing. Like, I think when you grow up here, there's all these, when you visit outside, you're like, wait a minute, why isn't there a slot machine and a 7-Eleven? I don't get it. Right? Or why isn't everything open until, 24 hours? That's another thing. When you go to another city, you're like, wait a minute, why is everything closing at 2 a.m.? So we really have been spoiled by this sort of, I think, to your point, no limits lifestyle. And whenever I think about it, this is sort of fascinating, things that people might not know, a little bit of trivia. We are home to the National Bowling Stadium, which is the largest bowling stadium in the world. We're home to the largest rock climbing wall. Can't speak, sorry.
3 words fast, yeah.
It's the vodka that Bill put in here.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here, actually. Everyone.
This is purely.
What is this?
This is purely for product placement. If you didn't say our name a couple of times, I was going to say, would you just do one of these here?
Yeah. So we have the largest rock climbing wall in the country, right above, overlooking downtown Reno onto casinos. And then guess what else we have?
What?
The National
Automobile Museum. And you know what?
So
Number 5. USA Today voted us 5th best. I don't like 5, but it's better than but we're the 5th best automobile museum in the entire country, voted by USA Today readers.
The work's not done. So
No,
there you
no,
go.
Yeah, it's not done.
we were 12 or 13. We're working our way up. But
There you go.
I'm going to redo that
And
list. We're number 1.
Yes.
But my point is that we have things that people don't realize that we're actually famous for. And it does put us on the map. And what you were saying, hosting these kids, and you said, are you excited to come here? I think people should understand about this place. This is where you really mix nostalgia and our history and our innovation and all the things that you have done here. You bring in Sammy Hagar's work. You bring in Bill Hara's work.
Yeah. A lot of history.
Yeah, you were just talking about Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Right? And so you actually get all these sort of
He's okay.
celebrities
side story.
that walk through the door, but that's because you have done such a phenomenal job of really opening up the doors here and teaching children about sort of why this place is so special.
I'm glad you said that, because Reno in general has the same attributes. Historical component, the tourism, the history. You walk around the museum, there's 250 cars. You don't have to be a car lover.
That's so
Maybe you
true.
just want a history. The first car made, last car made, owned by General Douglas MacArthur. We just got the grease car came in,
I love
and that it's funny when you see a family walk in, a couple of them go to Tomater and Lightning McQueen, a couple of them go to the 40s or 50s,
Yes.
some go to F1, and some just go play in the activity center. It's like Reno, it offers something for everybody. I want to get a little bit more specific if I can. So I'm going to go to you, Taylor, and say, for the companies that are moving into the area, is there something specific that you see driving growth here?
Oh, sure.
An industry or a particular company?
So first, again, coming back to where we started, our work doesn't happen in a vacuum. So we benefit from all of the great work and all the great leadership that sort of has benefited this community for a long time, starting with the mayor and the city council and the work that they've done to ensure that Reno is a great place to do business. But for us, we can't hide from the fact that we are ideally located in a low-tax state that's adjacent to California, particularly that's adjacent to Silicon Valley. And so if there's a tech company that's discovered a new technology that they need to scale, we offer a cost savings off of Silicon Valley that's hard to miss. And so we continue to, I think, to be the place or one of the preferred destinations for tech, particularly tech-based manufacturing that needs a place to scale. And so we see that being a healthy portion of our pipeline. And then the other thing that's really interesting, and it's taken us a minute to get our hands around it, but industrial food manufacturing is doing really good here.
That's right.
Yeah, and so for me, this is really important because I think as we look into the future, the communities that can feed themselves are at a real advantage over the communities that are having to bring everything in. And so the mayor was talking about our altitude. This is one of the unique benefits we have here. So in addition to our altitude and being here in the high Sierra, the high desert more or less, but also with very low humidity, we offer somebody, let's say you're an industrial baker or you're making jerky or something like that, or you're making crackers and snacks and things, right? And by the way, we should call out all of these companies.
Crackers.
That's right. I mean, it's
What about whiskey?
We do well. So first, and
have
well,
that
also, half of Frey Ranch also
Yes.
is a woman founder. I was going to say it's International Women's Month, and so it just occurred to me that 2/3 of the companies I just found out are either women owned or women led.
Pretzels.
That's right,
Yes.
Stellar
Right.
Snacks, of
Southwest
course.
Airlines.
And so
Yeah.
what's interesting about that is, we think that we offer a longer shelf time because if there's no humidity in the process, we can package in a high altitude and anything like that, and you can distribute, and there's some real advantage and some real efficiency that comes with that. And so I really like our region for manufacturing of finished food goods.
Yeah.
And so it's we're seeing that. Just as the mayor rightly mentioned, I mean, and there are 6 or 8 other companies that have all come here in the last 5 years that are now scaling in our region.
right.
So for us, obviously, hospitality is the floor that this is the foundation this house is built on. And so if that's not working, nothing's working. Thankfully, it's working. But then starting with Tesla in 27, well, really starting with the Great Recession, we demonstrated that we were a great logistics and distribution hub. When Tesla picked us, we showed the whole world that we can do advanced manufacturing as well as anyone in the world, which is great. And so we've become a real target for any sort of advanced and highly automated manufacturing use. And now we're seeing that expand into tech as well as into things like food manufacturing. So it's our economy continues to be strong. I would love to take credit for it, but I mean, the truth is there's my organization's 43 years old. I've been here for 3 of those, so there were 40 years of hard work and working closely with our local governments that preceded my tenure here. But I'm really proud of the work the team's doing in the present.
Mayor, with all the growth that we're talking about, all the success we're having, what is the city, or what are we planning to do, or is there anything you want to address in terms of being prepared for all this growth, or infrastructure, or anything in general that we've accomplished in the last?
Also, thinking
12
about it, I
years.
wanted to just add to Taylor a little bit. That's another area, because of our climate and our weather, it's been very attractive to drone technology.
That's
You know,
right.
We talk a lot about this. So it's funny, as we're sitting here talking all the different layers, it starts with hospitality. Then I think we do a very good job with entrepreneurs, our business climate. Obviously, Taylor does a phenomenal job over at EDON. So we have all these sort of layers. Like, you start at the hospitality level, then we end up going to you, and then hey, Phil, can we come through your doors? So we kind of have all these things that we touch on. But I think for the future, there's so much to really, really be excited about. It's also hard. I was born and raised here. So the census just came out, and we are now a medium-sized city. Don't tell anyone that. But because we always want to be the biggest little city. The good news is we still operate like a small
Right.
city.
Yeah.
It is. It's very small. We all know each other. We went to high school together. Someone dated someone, and then you just missed your turn if you didn't date them. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding.
no,
I'm just kidding.
no, the truth is
you know me. I said it in my out loud voice.
that
I didn't
was
date
true.
anyone here at this table, just so everyone knows.
No, but it is true. Someone gave me that advice. They told me, don't have a vanity plate. Understand that everyone you meet in this room has either dated each other, had a relationship with that person, is related to the other person. So be
Yeah.
very respectful and professional. I go,
Yes.
I learned it like the first 5 minutes.
It's so
It was a
true.
great opportunity to pick on Mississippi, but I didn't even go there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I'm going to pick on myself. Look, I think one of the reasons we fit in so well here is I grew up in a town with 30,000 people, and people love to ask. My wife looks a lot younger than me, and she said, "When did you meet her?" I said, "I met her in middle school." Now, granted, we didn't date in middle school, but when I was a sophomore in college, she was a freshman. We started dating. It was because I knew there was a 0.0% chance we were related.
I'm glad you closed that joke.
Now, I know people that are going to listen to this are going to smile when I say this, because this is the truth. And I'm not going to say any names or any other cities or anything, but these three entities that are here, it's extremely unusual for them to get along as well as they do. You're friends. You can tell when the camera's on, the camera's off. You're friends and you're communicating because you all have the common goal. I guarantee people are watching going, well, I know it's not like that where I'm from, in other parts of the country. It's essential to get stuff done. And what you've done in a short period of time is amazing. Were you going to jump in on this one?
I'm getting old, Phil. I forgot the question, but I'll try.
The question was just really specifically, all right, well, let's just go from the tourism standpoint. How do you see Reno positioning yourself for the next 5 years? Because the original question morphed into like 5 different
I really
things.
Isn't it so
I didn't forget the
true?
question, but thanks for going to the next one. I appreciate
yeah.
it.
That is so funny.
Oh, did you see we did the governor the other day?
No.
So,
So sorry, really quickly. So we did that. I had the governor and
This
I
is a
interviewed him.
spectacular name drop.
It was no, not because of that. He was here at the museum with the speaker series, and no,
Bill
seriously.
said, hey, can you
just
come
saying-
in here and film my podcast?
Yes,
Yeah.
He's
no,
smart.
That's
no,
awesome.
I did
Phil
ask.
is
I
the
did
marketer.
ask him to do that. But the only thing I said to him really quickly was, I said, after we do these questions, I'm going to ask you a couple of things, and at the end about your priorities, I'm going to come back and say one more time. I'm going to say, hey, just hit it home, like remind everybody with your priorities, what you did.
Yeah.
So I did that, and instead of saying what he was supposed to say, you know what he said?
What?
Weren't you paying attention? I just went over all those with you.
oh, boy.
And I'm like, dude,
Oh,
he just
boy.
set me up, and then he just smirked because he knew. So
Gotcha.
I knew the question. I know you knew the question, but and I
That's
did want to
awesome.
get that in that he was here. So
That's right.
thank you.
Well, I mean, I sponsored that event, so I'm glad you did.
Yes, you did.
And he did it-
See?
he
And
did
see,
it.
I
He's
just
been here
did
a
it too.
lot, actually.
And he did a fabulous job
Yeah.
moderating it. It was
Yeah.
excellent.
He did.
Yeah,
So
he's
that-
been here a lot.
He's been great to us. He's
Yeah,
come
I love
here,
that.
open forum. I think the best thing, literally, anyone can do that you're in an office or any kind of capacity you represent the country, the state, the city, to go out there and have open forums to talk to people, because how often is those 30-second, 5-second little snippets that they put on the news, how often are they accurate? Or the misinformation? I'll guarantee
lot
you,
of
without
it.
you saying,
A lot of
there's,
it. Good point.
come on, everyone
no.
here.
That's right.
The
No,
things that
I
people
know it
post
so
and
well.
say have no
Yes.
truth to them at all,
Yes.
but they say them. The misinformation is out there in each one of your
Yeah.
worlds. So here's your time to
Put the record
what
straight.
information would
Get
you
the
like
record
to
straight.
say and get it clear right
yeah,
now
yeah.
for the
Well,
record?
I don't think there's anybody in,
You got like
in
5 hour
Nevada.
show on that one.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in Nevada who's been more a victim to that than the mayor has, and I think it's just incredible the amount of grace that she's shown, but also the way that she has rightly defended herself and other public servants in the community who were just being based. Just it wasn't even unfair; it was untrue. Things being said, and so I mean,
But
it's
you can
it's,
say
it's an
anything,
unfortunate. Yeah.
and then it must be true because it's the internet. No,
Yeah.
none of
course.
it's
That's
true.
right. That's
right. That's
Half
right.
of it,
That's
and then
right.
you ever had those people? Sorry, good sidetrack. Those people that write these things that aren't true, and you call them up all nice, saying, "Oh, I didn't mean to come out like that."
Right.
Right.
Lost in
right.
translation.
Stay
Sorry.
tuned for next episode. We're going to get into all
Sorry,
those
Mike.
emails
Oh,
and
yeah.
texts.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a good lead.
Yes.
So, sorry, Mike. I jumped right in front of your answer.
I forgot the question
Should I go to the
again.
next question again?
What was the question?
The question was going forward
Yeah, that's
nationally.
so
what are we
funny.
going to do to try and attract
By the way,
them more
I do want to
national?
say shout out
She's
to
trying to
See
mess
that?
with
I'm
you
gonna
now.
mess it again.
But
You
he
You
did
want him to
bring up
forget the
something
other-
very important, and I need to call him out for this. I had an experience one time where it was very frightening, and Taylor actually was there. and really helped me through it. And so I'm really grateful
Oh, wow,
for
thank you.
so many people in this community that have been so supportive of some of the issues that I have had. And I just want to say thank you so much, Taylor. A lot of people don't know that. I really keep my personal life, or I try to anyway, out of the spotlight. And unfortunately, there are people that want to drag it in and also use lies and things in that capacity, but also harm too.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you so much to Taylor, and especially, when women are in very unfortunate circumstances. I just can't thank you guys enough for a lot of the people in this community that have stepped up when things were really unsettling. So, and it's just the political environment. But you know what? Like I try not to ever focus on that. We try to focus on, rooting for Reno, and that's what makes it so much easier when you start to really think about the wonderful place we live in and the people that live here. It says a lot about the people that live here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I want this show to talk about all the positive things, because the expression, if it bleeds, it reads, or whatever that expression is.
So
It's terrible, but it's true.
in the
But
media, they
there's
say
so
that.
many
If
good
it-
things to
if
talk
it
about
bleeds, it
from
leads.
all of our areas.
And I
Yeah.
thought, as much as we communicate, as much as I see her at functions and on TV, I'm like, I didn't know you had a personal life. You don't have time.
Yeah, how's that possible?
Well, that's true. That
right.
is true. I will say that. But my first love is Reno. I know that
Yeah.
sounds cheesy, but
Yeah.
I've been really upfront that like this is my priority.
Yeah, and you made a really good point. There's one of the. I remember what question it was, but one of my answers was going to be the people, and we are so fortunate
true.
in this community. Not just obviously, I'm going to lean into the hospitality space, but the people. You have generations of families that have been here for decades, and a lot of the students that come to the University of Nevada. I think it was 3 years ago, the first time in the history of the University of Nevada, the freshman class enrollments actually outnumbered from Clark County in Las Vegas, Southern Nevada, than Northern Nevada. And a majority of those students, when they are done and complete their education, they stay. And they stay because this community has grown on them, and they love it, and they become part of our workforce. And I have a son that just graduated in May with engineering. They can't find enough engineers coming out of our university because there's so much opportunity here. And so, but the people overall, I always say you could lift up Reno and drop it in the Midwest, and we'd fit right in because the people are so hospitable and kind.
No, this is a political ad. People would say they're going to take one little clip that I'm about to say and just focus on that. Before I moved here, I came here as a tourist and I loved it. But when my wife said we're moving here, my first reaction is I'm too old. I can't start over. I can't go here. No, I'm not going. This is the truth. I wish I got here 30 years ago. I love it here. My family loves it. Now, since then, I have all my 3 children and 8 grandchildren here because it is home. But I got to admit, I didn't know until I got here everything it had to offer. I knew my experiences, the casinos, the entertainment, which is great, but I didn't understand everything else. So we only have about 5 or 6 minutes left to go.
But wait, can I spill some tea?
Yeah.
I'm gonna spill some tea.
I didn't even know what that meant not long ago. We're going tea. Why am I talking about tea?
Yeah, it's all Gen
Hot off
Z
the
speak.
press.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to give you some tea.
But hold on, I want to say, hey, Noah, when we do this, can we put a little breaking news thing on the bottom of it?
Yeah,
Just some
breaking news.
with some
Breaking news. I'm
really
Phil.
passionate. Oh, it's about me?
Yes.
Well, then hold on. We want to. Wait a minute.
Now he's like, cut.
I didn't know you were
Noah,
doing that. Yeah,
cut,
okay,
Noah.
cut. I have no idea. Do we have a 10-second delay? I really didn't know.
So,
that's what she
okay,
said.
but one thing you should know about Phil, he loves a good tan. Okay, am I right? Sherry and his wife, who's amazing, and I love your wife, but they love a good tan. And so one of the other reasons you came here, Phil, let's just be honest, 320 days of sunshine.
Yeah.
That's true.
There you
That's
go.
true. I did
I
not
have to
think
get
you were
that-
going with
I
that one.
have to get that
And
in
you-
when you said,
Yeah.
here's why I moved here.
Yeah.
And then
Your tan looks pretty good for March. Not bad.
From March, yeah.
yeah.
No, it's not. Okay. We were absolutely be cutting this out. There is no tanning light. There's no tanning bed. There's none of that stuff. It's Scottish blood.
You took that out of your office?
What's that?
The tanning booth? You
Yeah,
took it
that's
out?
not there. It's not there. The one I borrowed from you actually
Yeah.
broke, so I got to get a new one. All right, back to your question. Back to your question. What was the question? All right, we only have about 5 minutes left, so let's just
So you
kind
got to do a series part 2.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yes.
So
Can we
about-
get you back? We got
Absolutely.
one more round of questions though
Well,
before we
wait,
go. So from
quickly,
each of your
I
perspectives,
got to tag the tanning thing as someone who doesn't tan. Thankfully, there are 2 amazing female founders here who have a new
plug
new
it.
sunscreen
Plug
line
it.
I
Plug
know.
it.
that is
And I
all
tried
over
to
my
put it
house.
on Phil, like, hey, let me put some sunscreen
Great
on you.
segue.
Yeah.
well, if I knew that, I would have been prepared. I would have done a better little
But I know how
tie-in.
much you love tan.
I
So
love going
not
out
being
to
that
be
friend.
warm places once a
All
year.
right, now we can get back to work.
Let's
Sorry.
clarify that. Let's clarify that. All right, so moving along, lost my whole train of thought on that little transition. That breaking news kind of backfired on me right there. All right, so if we're sitting here in 2030, 2000 whatever, well, what do you think? What do you hope that Reno either positioned for, is doing from each of your perspectives? You had one thing. You say 2030. I want us to be.
I'll go.
This.
I'll go first, Phil. And I've said this for a while. When I came back to Reno in 2015 and then moved into this role at Visit Reno Tahoe, I said my goal when hopefully someday I get to retire is that when people all over this country are sitting around a table and having a discussion, whether it's with their family and their kids, their parents, their friends, and they say, where should we go this year? Where should be our vacation? And, it's not going to be just Nashville. It's not going to just be Charleston or Mexico. Like, you know what? Let's go to Reno Tahoe. And I always said that when you get to that point in a conversation with people all over the country, when they're talking about coming to Reno Tahoe as their vacation spot all the time, then we made it in the tourism side.
That's awesome.
And it's happening. It is happening. Taylor?
So, by the way, that was really good.
I love that.
For us, it's interesting. So the nature of our community is such we're going to continue growing, and so I think most economic developers, the stock answer you would get is we've grown to this number. Well, what I know about this community is we're gonna continue. We are gonna grow. It's just in our bones to do it, and so we talk in our organization a lot about what are sustainable growth principles, which is, and I don't mean environmental sustainability, although that's a component of it, but it's just making sure that we're growing within the confines of what the community can accommodate efficiently. And so for me, a lot of that goes to preserving cultural pillars. So when I look forward, what I think you'll see because of the work that we're doing now is that when we look back, we'll see we achieved all of the growth that we needed to sustain our economy, to sustain our people, to create wealth in the community. While going back to Mike's point, there are families that have been. I mean, the heartbeat of our community have been here for generations. I mean, it's not lost on me. I'll never be viewed as being from Nevada. I mean, maybe if
We're going to work on that.
You
accent.
will.
I hope to one day be perceived as being of Nevada. But I mean, by Reno standard, my grandchildren might be viewed as being from here. So for me, when we look back, we've grown, we've continued to create wealth, we've continued to mature our economy, but we've preserved the cultural pillars that make this community so special.
Very true. Very true.
Mayor, wrap it
Okay.
up for
Bring
us.
it
I'm going to wrap it up. Visit Reno Tahoe. # Mayor made me do it.
Love it. Great
That's
clause.
it?
That's it.
All right. Well,
But we only had 30 seconds, so there's my plug.
see, people don't know Brian's in the background telling us, okay, wrap it up
Yeah.
over there. Now, I want to thank all of you very much for coming in on the show. I do think that whole call a friend could be fun, though.
We should
I
totally
think we should
do
just
it.
pick on someone and just say, okay, and put them on speaker.
You know who
and-
lives here is Jeremy Renner. I was thinking about, who I'd pick in my phone. And I'll hand you the phone. Here you go. Say hi to Jeremy.
McDougall?
And then he'd hang up. Then he'd hang
McDougall,
up.
click. How did you get my number?
And then he'd be like,
McDougall?
Mayor, are you okay?
Yes.
Well, I did it one time with Dr. Murthy. He was the Surgeon General in the last administration.
gosh.
I made him call his mom on the phone. It was great.
Well, that's cool to
It
call
was
your
great.
mom.
That's very good.
That's good. That's cool.
All right. Thank you all very much for what you do.
Phil.
Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, Phil.
coming down. This is a fun time. If you haven't been to the National Automobile Museum in a long time, I invite you to come. Blah, blah, blah. Can I try that better
Yes, sir.
again?
Yes.
See?
No cuts, this is live.
Yes.
The Bob
No,
pen
it is
here.
actually this. I'm just going to say thank you all very much. And come down to the National Automobile Museum. We'd love to see you. We're open 7 days a week, and we have a new exhibit here every 60 days. Grease just came
I
in
love
for
it.
the movie Grease. Mystery Machine, and so much more. Thank you. We'll see you again because we're going to come back, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.